Our project is Are You Graduating? A personalized major planning app with smart recommendations. Students currently must use Degree Navigator to plan their college experience, but it has a lot of issues. The user interface is antiquated and there's no clear indication if a student is on track. It's only available on web, and Degree Navigator has faulty logic in its backend, which makes students have to go to their advisors to manually fix the issues. And finally, Degree Navigator doesn't provide students with recommendations on what to take next. Our solution is an Android app called Are You Graduating? It is easy to use in different environments and on the go since students can access it from their phones. We designed the app to give students a personalized experience for major planning. We display major progress and even take into account planned courses. We made sure that our interface is intuitive and clearly shows if a student will graduate on time. And finally, we give students smart recommendations for the best classes to take based on what they've already taken. For the spring semester, we focused on developing the Android app and the backend. We created the data model in MongoDB, and using MongoDB Stitch, we connected the backend to our front end in Android. And this front end shows the progress of recommended courses and shows the history and plan of courses. Our next part will be our app demo. Part 1, Signing Up.
Hello everyone, my name is Nick and I will be demonstrating our Are You Graduating Android app. This right here will be the experience of a new user signing up for using our app. Here is the login page, and it says to log in with our NetID and our scarlettmail.rutgers.edu at email address. So I'm going to press on this Google authentication button. So it will ask us to sign in with our email first, so let me enter that in. Alright, press next. And we see that it is being managed by the Scarlet Mail at Rutgers.edu website. So after clicking Accept this app, so let me enter in my information real quickly. Alright, so after entering my password and pressing next, it will bring me to this screen, which basically sets up the account onto this mobile device. I'll press more and accept. And indeed, we get to sign in, and this is our sign up screen. So over here, you'll be able to change your name. Your NetID will be already set based off of what you logged in as. And so now you have to set up what your school and your major. So over here, we see that we have the School of Engineering, which I am in, and the amount of majors that are available. And right now we have the major in computer engineering, but luckily that's the major that I'm in right now. So let me choose that and submit this. And this should sign me up as a student. So here we get to add courses. So while we envision that people of all years will be using our app, let's just say that as a new user, I am a freshman who's just finished his first semester at Rutgers University. So let me add some classes that I've taken already, as well as the grades that I've received for them. So let me add Introduction to Computer Science. That course code is, 01 198 111. And I got an A in that. What else? Principles of Electrical Engineering 1. This course code is 14 332 221. Also got an A in this. PE1 Lab. Also got an A in this. And Probability and Random Processes. Oops, let's make sure that's a colon. Right, and maybe I got a B plus in this one. Add this in, and I will submit these classes and they will show up under my profile.
Hey guys, this is Varun here. So as you can see from what Nick demoed earlier, we can see how the front end works for the logging in and signing up portion of our application, but we just wanted to shed some light on exactly what goes on in the back end. So as you can see in this bit of code here, this basically indicates everything that is done for logging in and authenticating. In other words, it's entirely abstracted away by Google. We don't actually store the passwords or account information pertaining to a user's Scarlet Mail account. Rather, we just have Google do that for us, And as a result, we don't need to store any of that. And if the student has a valid Scarlet Mail account, which they should as Rutgers students, they will be able to authenticate successfully. Once they're authenticated, we need to know whether or not this is the first time they're using our application. And for that, we simply check our database to see whether or not we already have a document associated with their NetID in here. So now there is a document with Nick's NetID in here, but that's because he already did his demo before. I'm showing this now. But let's say that we have another student who is using this for the first time and their information is not stored in our database. So then the following occurs. We have a bunch of functions that have been written here that are called webhooks. And basically what these do is that these are all functions that work directly with the database. They update it, they get information from it, they insert information, they delete information, etc. And at the same time, they are all also associated with unique URLs that our client can connect to at the appropriate time. And they're listening for these requests so they can handle them appropriately. The one that we are interested in is the register student webhook, which basically has this particular URL here. And let's say that we have a new student who has just finished the sign up activity, which contains their name, their NetID, KK858, and they've indicated that they are in the School of Engineering and majoring in computer engineering. So to reiterate, this is exactly what Nick did in the sign up page. And when he clicked submit, this exact same function was run. We get back true, which means that this operation occurred successfully. And if I reload this page, I should now see a new document corresponding with that information that was just inputted. So just give it a moment, scroll to the bottom, and we see now that there's a new document here that was not here before. KK858, the name is Kelly Kim, enrolled in the School of Engineering and majoring in computer engineering. And we also have all of the requirements needed to satisfy each of those enrollments, as well as the courses that can be potentially taken towards that.
Now I'm going to demonstrate what happened in our database when Nick inserted the classes through the app. So we have a students collection in our database where we store all the students' information. And if we look at the fourth document here, we will find that it belongs to Nick because it has his ID and name. So we have a courses array here, and then once we receive the courses through the front end, we add all these courses to the courses array. So the first four are just the codes that Nick inserted, and then there's two more. These two just indicates that two of the courses that Nick has taken have equivalencies, and we flag them by the grade G. We have in our database an equivalencies collection, so if you go to that and we look at the third document, we will find that in the courses array, we have 127 and 111, so that means that they are equivalent to each other, and we give them an ID. And since Nick took 111, so this ID got inserted under his courses array. Now we go back to students collection. After this step, after the insertion of all the classes and IDs in the courses array, we give each class a rank, and based on that rank, we match it up with a program requirement. So if we open the programs object, we will find that Nick is enrolled in the major in computer engineering program. And here is some information about the program. We have the residency object, and that stores the student's progress towards the residency requirement. So since that type, we have a Boolean field called type, and since it's set to true here, so that means that the residency is calculated by the number of credits and not the number of classes, and it's 7 because Nick took 4 classes. One of them was 111 from CS, and then 3 other ECE classes. 2 of them were 3 credits each, and then the third one was 1 credit, so that adds up to 7 credits in total. And then we have the recs array. Here we have saved all the requirements, or all the program requirements, and there is a num courses field inside each requirement, and it's set to 0 on all of them except core. So that means that the 4 classes that Nick has taken just counted towards the core requirement because num courses equal to 4 here. So if we open up the courses array, we should see the 4 classes.
Part 2. See progress.
Alright, so after adding those classes, we see that I have 0% complete, but not to worry. This just means that I haven't really completed any of the requirements that are needed to complete the major yet. So that's why we're at 0% right now for now. We see at the top right we have this menu where I am able to log out and see my profile. So let's take a look at my profile.
Part 3. See Profile.
We see that these are the classes that I added in the beginning, so they are indeed here and I can see all of them. And from this page, I'll be able to add more classes that I've taken in the future and update those with the grades that I've received. I'm also able to add programs that I might think about taking, so if I want to take a double major or an additional minor, I can add it from this page as well. And I can plan out what I want to take in the future and add these classes to my plan.
Part 4. Major Requirements.
Alright, so what class should I take next? Well, we plan for users to be able to audit any program that they want to and see how much progress that they've made towards it. But for now, let's just choose the major in computer engineering. And click on Go. And we see that indeed there are a bunch of requirements that I haven't completed yet, but the classes that I entered at the beginning do go towards some of these requirements, like the major in computer engineering core. And if I click
Part 5. Requirement Details.
And if I click on that, I'll see that, well, I have 4 of these mini requirements filled in, and that there are 17 more requirements that I need to complete in order to complete this entire requirement. Alright, so let's see what courses this app might suggest to me.
Part 6. Suggested Courses.
And if we click on it, there are ways for me to see what courses I can take immediately or several prerequisites after. But let's just look at what's there immediately for me to take. We see that, well, core has a lot of classes left, and they're suggesting these 3 courses. And if I look at school level core, there are also a lot of courses left, and that there are an abundance of classes that I need to take, as well as equivalency. So let's take a look at this expository writing equivalency, and we see that both expos writing 1 and exposition argument both satisfy this equivalency. So maybe I should take one of these classes. Let's take a look at 355 101. And so clicking on this will let me see the number of credits and the class code, as well as the description to let me know what this class is about. Using this, as well as the co-requisites and prerequisites that may come with this class, I might decide to take this class next semester.
Get into exactly how get suggested courses works in the background. So here we have this function, this webhook called get suggested courses, which runs as soon as Nick navigates onto that page. And so we call this function called build future courses, which essentially does the calculation to figure out what courses can be taken on a level by level basis. This calculation only occurs right after new courses are taken or for the very first time for a student. So here we have a student object, and if we look at the courses field, we see that this includes all the courses that that student has taken so far. Right now, here it is empty, which means that this student hasn't taken any courses just yet. We can also look and see that this student is majoring in computer engineering, and we have already included all of the requirements for that major, as well as a field called untaken courses, which indicates all of the untaken courses that can be applied towards this requirement. What Build Future Courses does is that it pulls all of these courses in untaken courses for all the requirements into one massive list, and then we go into and creates this object called course levels. For each level, it takes that entire pool of objects and determines which courses can be taken by that student based on the prereqs that they've satisfied. Since this student has an empty courses array, that means that they have taken no courses, so they can only include the courses that have no prereqs in level 0. We output these here and then include them as quote-unquote taken, and then iteratively repeat this process to construct level 1. We see here that this includes courses that have some subset of courses in level 0 as prereqs. For example, 112 is in level 1, and that's because 111 was considered quote-unquote taken in level 0. We repeat this iteratively with a shrinking number of untaken courses until all of the courses in untaken courses have been taken in some level. That entire object is then created here, and build future courses returns. We go back to get suggested courses and output that object back to the user.
Thank you for watching our presentation on Are You Graduating? We worked hard this semester to solve the problems we saw with our current major planning system. We're proud to have created a user-friendly app that clearly shows students their major requirements and how close they are to finishing them. Our backend implemented in MongoDB and with their Stitch API allowed us to store the majors, requirements, courses, and students, and to use the relationships among them to suggest future courses to students. So, when someone asks, "Are you graduating?" you can now say, "Yes, I am."